this video, we're going to learn how to create our first class with Gibbly. In the left navigation bar, head over to the Classes button. Since we haven't created a class yet, we're going to do that now. We're going to head over to the Add Class button in the top right, and we're going to choose the class name. In my case, I'm going to call it Science Grade 8, and then hit Submit. If you've realized you made a mistake, you can go back and click the Edit button and say you want to add a section number or just change what it says. You can do that here and then click Enter. You can also delete the class if you don't need it anymore, although I will warn you that this permanently deletes any student data and progress, so make sure that you're sure before you click the Delete button. From here, we can now start assigning games to this class. I'll click on the Assigned Game button, and here we see the specific class view. From here, we can start adding games, or in other words, quizzes, to our classes page. I'm going to click on the top right button where it says Add Game, and we can add quizzes from our own library or any quizzes that have been made public in the Discover page. I'm going to add my quiz on photosynthesis, and I will find one other user-generated quiz in the Discover. Let's do this one on clouds. There's one more thing I want to show you on this page before we assign the quizzes to this class, and that is that you can specify a due date. This is completely optional, but you can do that here. You can also do it at a later time if you change your mind. But for now, let's set the due date on this one to sometime in January. And we can hit Assign, and now both of these quizzes will be assigned to students in this class. So now that the quizzes are populated in this class is now ready to share with students. You can add more games if you want to. You can also change the settings of each individual quiz. For example, if we click on the settings button here, we can change the due date for this specific quiz. We can decide if it's opened or closed and still accepting responses. If you set this to closed, the students will no longer see this as an option on their classes page. And then once we're happy with these settings, we can click Done. We can also delete quizzes from here if we don't want them anymore. Same thing as before, if you delete a quiz, it will remove all student progress for that specific quiz, and it's irreversible. You will not be able to get it back, so make sure you're sure before you delete any quizzes. So now that we're happy with how our class is set up, we're going to head over to the class URL button and click on this. This has copied the classroom URL to your clipboard. You can now take this URL and send it to your students, and they'll be able to enter the lobby of the class. So this is the view that your student will see. From here, they just need to enter a nickname so that you can see how they progress through the quizzes. I'm going to put my name here so you can see how it appears in the results page later. Once their nickname's in, they just click Start. They're now in the classes page, so they can from here start doing any assignments that you've assigned for them. For the student to play, they just need to click on the Start button and it will bring the quiz up for them. Coming back to the teacher view of the class, we can see now that we've had one participant play our quiz, so we can see the results on how they did. We're just going to click on the View Results button in the right here. From here, we have access to a couple of different metrics. We can see how many people have played, the average score. We can see the highest score, the lowest score. This is all me, so there's only showing one participant. That's why they're all the same. We can also see what I found were the hardest questions. This is really helpful from a macro level to see where students are struggling the most. We can just flip through a couple to see which ones were the most challenging. If we scroll down a little bit more, the grade summary buckets the students into different categories so that you can see which students need the most support, moderate amounts of support, and then are probably okay and don't need a lot of help on this specific subject. We can also scroll down a little bit more and we can see which students have completed the quiz and which questions they specifically got wrong. So for example, let's click on question 7. We can see here that our student Mallory, she struggled with this question specifically and she answered oxygen instead of glucose. Now we know that this student is struggling with this specifically, and if it comes up in the most challenging questions, it's likely that many people in the class are struggling with this specific question and this concept. There's only one student in the leaderboard right now. If there were more, they would be ranked from highest score to lowest score, so you can see who needs the most help. That wraps up our video on how to use the classes page. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. I'll also be leaving a feedback link if you have any ideas or suggestions for how we can improve the Gibbly platform. We have other videos in the series, so hopefully you'll check them out. Thanks again for watching.